in breaking down today's win of the day, yes, I can do a splits as well, but nowhere in the ATG program are you asked to do a splits. And I actually went from pathetically weak and tight to strong and flexible. So when I started this, I couldn't remotely control myself down in a Nordic like this, nor could I remotely control with glutes lock, could I remotely control my knees all the way down. So the ATG system, in learning from me, it's like learning business from the brokest guy ever, who now is a pretty good business going. I'm not the world's best athlete, but by traditional standards, I am quite a freak athlete now. And that's because I had to figure out 8 different layers. So for me, unless I got stronger, nothing was happening in my, so let's take jumping, right? Unless I got stronger, wasn't happening. But if I didn't gain that strength through a full range, then I also ran into troubles. And then if I wasn't perfectly balanced across 3 different principles, meaning joint to joint, so if ankle is too weak for knee, you're gonna run into trouble. If knee's too weak to hip, you're gonna run into trouble. If hip's too weak to shoulder, run into trouble. So you have your joint pairs, and then you have the joints from each side. Any imbalances can manifest, and then you have the joint from one side of the own joint to the other, like I demonstrated quad and hamstring. So there's 3 different ways your structural balance can be off. So I had to improve my strength through length according to structural balance on a gradient scale. So for me, I had to start way up here. And that's the same exercise as doing, now it's like I can't hurt myself if I try, but it was all according to a gradient scale. Those are the first 4. The last 4 then get more into the sport itself. So I found that even if I did everything all that right, I still had to train according to elasticity. So glutes, right? Big focus of training, the hip power, whatever. Yeah, you can get world-class hip power, but did you know that your gluteal tendons are tiny and weak compared to your Achilles tendon, which is the biggest, thickest, strongest tendon in the human body? So unless you actually train according to elasticity, you can hit the same weight room numbers as someone, and you're not going to be the next Michael Jordan or Usain Bolt, because you're actually still missing out on a key component of your body, understanding that your muscles and tendons are inversely proportionate. Biggest muscles, smallest tendons. Bigger muscles, bigger tendons, bigger muscles than your calves, smaller muscles than your glutes, smaller tendons. Do you see what I'm saying? Smallest muscles, smallest tendons, biggest tendons. Then those 5 factors now are going to be affected by technique. So then I study the technique, so whatever your sport you're in. And the main thing I found is the balance. So like if you jump higher off one foot than the other, to the degree that you're in balance, you have more chance of knee pain and surgery, and actually less chance of continued jump growth. So I haven't seen an outlier yet that if you jump 30 inches off this leg and 35 off this leg, that if we get this leg up to 35, that this one can actually go even higher now, because you're the sum of both parts. And people are missing this out in track and field, but did you also know that no triple jump, long jump, high jump world records, these all stand from the 90s? And the last guy to get close, Christian Taylor, was about to retire because of injuries and decided, what the heck, I'll switch sides. Ended up winning a gold medal thanks to accidental jump balance. And finally, it's affected by intention, number 7. There's a study done on 2 sprinting groups. One group was lied to and thought they were getting faster, because really they just made the sprint a tiny bit shorter each time. The other group was lied to, thought they were getting slower. They were really just running a little bit farther each time. At the end of the study, the group that thought they got slower, when they tested a real 100 meters, actually got slower. And the group that thought they were getting faster actually got faster, because their hormones were through the roof. They had more muscle, less fat. The other group had more fat, less muscle, because it was like one group was simulating, the genetics of a genetic freak, having the testosterone and everything. So your intention then affects the rest. Your intention of being able to give yourself wins when you're doing well. Your intention of even how, are you just flopping into an exercise, or how is your intention in that exercise? And then all of that is then affected by body composition. Yes, I am 6 foot, male, no special genetics, blah, blah, blah. It does affect things. If I was 6'9", dunking would be easier. But Stefan Holm was even shorter than me and won an Olympic gold medal in high jump because of those 7 factors below. So yes, whatever your body composition is, that's gonna go into your diet, into your genetics, into, look, some people take drugs, some don't. That's not, I don't think it's needed for most goals, but I also haven't played a sport that is really reliant on that since I play basketball. My point is that body composition does affect all the rest. Whatever's happening, I mean, obviously body composition, if you were born with a genetic defect or something, you can't necessarily achieve the same athleticism as somebody else. So by understanding these 8 though, you can see what you can do about it. You can make sure that your training is perfect. So like here's an example, right? I wanna jump higher. Okay, well, the shoulders, the upper body only represents exactly 15% of the training volume in knee ability dense strength. So I'm getting 85% ankle, knee, core, perfectly balanced, yada, 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 yada. And then about 15% is in the upper body. I'm just using science. So this is a microcosm of how I went from lifetime best, 19-inch vertical, chronic knee pain, 3 surgical alterations, thinking I would never go anywhere, to college scholarships, pro contracts, and now having over a 40-inch vertical, and I'm just getting started.